Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining me in this latest little video about whiskey. And in lieu of a new whiskey to review, which I'm working on at the moment, I thought I'd cover a couple of little articles from the news recently showing just the value of whiskey as a collectible and some of the incredibly rare pieces that have been up for auction or are up for sale recently, and I wish I could afford them, but these are obviously well out of most of our reaches. But it's I find these articles fascinating. It shows the global love for Scotch malt whiskey and some of the prices that rare pieces will fetch. So to start with, there's a number of bottles of what is apparently the oldest malt whiskey in the world, which is a Glenlivet 80-year-old, the oldest single malt Scotch whiskey. A number of these bottles are going on sale. This is an article from April 12th. These two bottles are referred to here are particularly around Vancouver, a sale in Vancouver, but I believe they're going on sale all over the world. 2 bottles per location. So Heaven in a Glass, rare whiskey expected to sell for $140,000 in Vancouver. And as it says here, 2 extremely rare bottles of whiskey are expected to sell for $140,000 each in Vancouver later this month. And one expert says whoever buys it likely won't even drink it. And that's the thing that's always fascinated me, that if I had the money to bid or buy for those bottles, would I also have the cojones to open one of the bottles and actually drink it, given the value that's placed upon it? So this particular batch was distilled during the Second World War by Gordon and MacPhail, who are huge whiskey distributors and distillery owners in Scotland, based in Morayshire. I've actually been in their facility and their shop in Elgin in Morayshire. If you ever get the chance to go in there, it's a whiskey treasure house. There are only 250 bottles of this available in the world, and the first one sold at Sotheby's in Hong Kong for $250,000. So that's incredible. And interested collectors, as it says here, are having to enter into a draw to even get the chance to buy them. Now, that event was on April 26th, so I'm going to be looking for an update on how that actually went and whether or not they sold. But yeah, according to this, the oldest single malt Scotch whiskey in the world. An image of the actual bottle, or one of the bottles itself, is here. As you can see, extremely old label on it from the Glenlivet distillery. But the Gordon and MacPhail have actually made a special decanter for these particular bottles. So that's what that looks like. Really fascinating. I just wonder what that tastes like. So that's one thing, but obviously the Macallan is a huge whiskey brand, legendary brand, and it was certainly the first Scotch malt whiskey I was ever introduced to as a young man. And a gentleman bought a cask of Macallan 33 years ago and apparently forgot he had left it in the bonded warehouse at the Macallan distillery. And now this went up for sale after 33 years. So Macallan whiskey cask, forgotten for 33 years, sells for a record $1.3 million at auction. It's a rare cask of Macallan whiskey that was left in the distillery's warehouse for more than 3 decades after its owner forgot to pick it up. Was snapped up by a US buyer for nearly $1.3 million, including fees, breaking the previous auction record for a whiskey cask, according to Whiskey Hammer, the site that actually brokered the sale. And apparently they've opened the cask because there is a sample of it in the glass there. Again, what would it be like to drink that particular sample? That would be incredible. So this doubled the previous record of $572,000 for a 30-year-old Macallan cask that was sold. It's a 1988 cask. It was bought by a whiskey novice who paid $6,500 for the 370-litre cask of single malt Scotch in May 1988. And then, as he was an expatriate who frequently travelled, forgot to pick the cask up. Luckily, Macallan kept track of it for him and actually accidentally left it to mature for 34 years at their warehouse in Bond. So finally, they decided to call him and tell him it was there, and it went up for auction. So a bottle of Macallan, however, sold for $1.87 million 1926 Macallan. So that's the most expensive bottle ever. This cask is a mere 1.3 million for the entire cask. So you get quite a few bottles out of that one. Again, I'd love to have a taste of that. You never know. I don't know who the expert is. It isn't me, but that would be a beautiful one to taste. And finally, on the current news front for these rare sales from the Northern Scot, the Marisher and Elgin newspaper, published on the 28th of April, the world's largest bottle of Scotch whisky is about to go under the hammer. It's a 32-year-old Macallan, and it's got 311 litre bottles have been made. And they're actually going to go on sale. 444 standard bottles is the equivalent in this one single 5 foot 11 inches tall bottle. And you can see it here. Certainly that's taller than me, and it's taller than many people, so that's quite the thing. Colin Fraser of Lyne and Turnbull, who are spearheading the auction, says, "I'm sure there will be significant global interest in the auction of the Intrepid, a unique collection spearheaded by the record-breaking bottling standing at an incredible 5 feet 11 inches tall. Bidders will have the chance to buy a piece of Scotch whisky history. They will become the owners of an exclusive 32-year-old single malt Scotch from what is widely regarded as one of the world's best distilleries, Macallan." And I would certainly agree with that. It's a fantastic distillery with many, many hundreds of fantastic whiskies over the years. So, 5 foot 11, not bad. So that's going to be pretty interesting. It's interesting that this one was in the warehouse, in Macallan warehouse, for 32 years. I do not think it's the same as this cask, which is the 33-year-old one. I may be wrong, but I do not think so. Pretty close to it though. It's only a year less, but they did take this cask and put some in smaller bottles, but this 5 foot 11 one is really their it's certainly a unique selling point. Quite how you would tilt that to pour it into a glass, I don't know. Anyway, that's some of the latest news in the Scotch whisky world. I will be working on another tasting video. Until then, remember to drink responsibly and enjoy your Scotch whisky very much, and have a great day.